صباح الفل يا جماعة. Okay, right. So yesterday I received a question, and it's mainly about noise in Zoom sessions. And of course, you know what I'm talking about, because a lot of us these days are teaching on Zoom. That's actually what we do. And even big courses in teacher training like CELTA, CERTISO, these courses now are running smoothly online. Okay, so one of the main problems that face teachers in online session is noise. And when I say noise, I'm talking about noise not produced by students themselves, but maybe because of where they are, and they're not muting themselves, and the noise keeps coming in the main session, which also would confuse everyone and make learning very, very difficult. Right, so I received a question: how do we overcome this? What do we need to do in order to reduce that amount of noise inside our online sessions? And I'll tell you exactly what I do myself. Well, usually before the start of the course, I kind of give my students, I kind of tell them about the classroom management rules that we will have online. So I tell them that, okay, if someone wants to say something, please raise your hand using the Zoom application, because there is this feature down there in Zoom, okay, where you can raise your hand, and instead of just sharing whatever on your mind directly. Of course, usually when I'm teaching face-to-face, I don't ask my adult students to raise their hands, because I believe it's kind of childish. But on Zoom, I tell them you've got to do it because of different internet speeds. So if you just start sharing the information you have without raising your hands first, then we will end up in chaos. And we don't want this to happen. So I tell my students about why I'm doing such things at the very beginning of my course. I also tell them that when you share something, you've got to mute yourself again. And I tell them about also the downsides of leaving your mic open, okay? Because there are a lot of downsides. Of course, your mom might be coming screaming, and oh my Lord, and then everything will come into the main session, and it will be really embarrassing for everyone. Like, I remember one of our students, having a fight with his wife over mahshi in the bloody main session, and we were kind of hearing everything. So no, that's not a very good idea to leave your mic open all the time, I mean, as a student. Now, but for teachers, what can we do besides giving instructions to our students about how to use Zoom before the start of the course? Now, one of the things I do is that I go down there to the button called security, because there is a button called security on Zoom. And what I do, especially in the first session, when having a big number of students, like if I have kind of 40 candidates in a session, that's a big number. And when I have, big numbers in my sessions, what I do is that I go down to security and I make sure that my candidates are not allowed to mute themselves. One more time. I go down to the button called security and I make sure that my candidates are not allowed to unmute themselves. Why? Because at the very beginning of the course, a lot of candidates, a lot of students are not familiar with Zoom, and sometimes because of this, they just don't realize whether the mics are on or off, and then again lots of noise would come into the main session. So at least in the first couple of sessions, I don't give them the power to unmute themselves unless they've got to raise their hands, and I will do it for them. And it really works. Then after that, after a couple of sessions, and when they get used to Zoom and they know where the buttons are, how to unmute themselves, then after that I give them the freedom to do so. And I also get them to follow my instructions, in terms of sharing in the classroom, raising their hands using the Zoom application, because I believe this is very important. Now, however, let's be honest about it, some students might forget. Like, and horrible things may happen in teaching online. Like, I remember watching a student, I'm sorry to put it that way, washing his teeth in a toilet, in a bloody main session, you know what I mean? Oh my God. Like, he forgot his bloody camera and went to the toilet. Thanks God he was washing his teeth. You know, I'm really happy that it came only to this. And a problem that at this time I was, even as a teacher, I was new to Zoom. I didn't know how to mute his camera. So it was scary. It was really scary because, oh my God, he's washing his teeth now. What's going to happen next? So I was really, really worried. But alhamdulillah, it ended at this stage. Also, and this also happened this week. I was teaching, you know, an input session online on Zoom, and then what happened in that, I gave the students, my candidates, the task to do in the main session. So everybody was silent, and I was just waiting for them to finish. Okay, and I told them, okay, once you finish this task, please raise your hand so that I know how many people finish, because this is how I monitor on Zoom. I can't see you actually. And then in the middle of silence, or you can imagine that, everybody is silent, reading a task, doing a task, and in the middle of silence, a sound penetrated this serenity, and we heard, all of us, including me, and I guess everybody in the room, someone flushing the toilet. God's sake, my God. My God. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I always say that teaching online is very comfortable, but it's getting too comfortable here. Like, for God's sake, you don't have to take your sessions right in the toilet, guys. And if you do take the sessions from the toilet, then make sure your camera is off, and also the mic is bloody off as well, right? We don't have to hear everything happening in there. So again, of course, because of these downsides, because of these embarrassing moments, people shouting, people crying, you know, whatever happens, you know, problems at home between family members, we don't need to hear all that. So 3 steps, as I said before. Number 1, giving instructions to your candidates on how to use Zoom before you start your course. That's very important. Number 2, if you've got a big number at the very beginning, make sure that you go to the security button and you don't allow your candidates to unmute themselves. It has to be only you in control. Then maybe later, yes, you might give them, you know, the freedom to unmute themselves. Number 3, make sure that you stress on the fact that candidates have to raise their hands before sharing information in the main session because of internet speeds and so on. So, thank you so much, my friends, and see you again. Bye-bye.